Alright, YouTube, so the video down below is from CNN, and Richard Spencer recently came out and commented on Trump's comments directed towards that freshman squad of Democrats, or the squad of freshman Democrats. And I mentioned their names yesterday: Omar, Tlaib, AOC, and I forgot the fourth one, but I'm sure one of you guys will put it down below. And he was saying, well, this is low-hanging fruit for Trump. You know, his base is going to eat this up like red meat, but he's not going to back it up with any significant action. And I think that's kind of a comment on the fact that Trump has not been able to fulfill his promise to the wall. So obviously Richard Spencer's whole thing is demographics, making the United States a white majority country, which, you know, I guess would be in step with who founded the country. So in that regard, he's been consistent about that. He hasn't really he hasn't changed his mind on that. But I think, you know, in terms of socialism versus capitalism, he definitely is a more socialist bent type of person. You know, he, I guess, maybe respects Nazi Germany for what they were able to do, I guess. I'm not sure, and if I'm incorrect in my assessment there, please let me know in the comment section down below. But I'm under the impression that Richard Spencer's more socialist bent. So I've even heard him come out and say, like, oh, I'm against the tax cuts and other things like that, you know, to basically talk about how businesses don't pay their fair share. I don't know, maybe that's partially his Marxist girlfriend talking through him. I'm not sure. But I digress. Looking at Richard Spencer, he's coming out. I think he's just trying to get his 15 minutes of fame here. I mean, I think it's been very fashionable to bash Trump, and, you know, especially if you're somebody that's associated with the right. I mean, hell, Richard Spencer is basically, or supposedly, is the face of the alt-right. When he comes out and says this, then, you know, ironically, CNN is going to eat it up like red meat, because they're going to say, "Oh, look, you know, Trump's white nationalist base is clearly falling apart here. He's, you know, losing a lot of influence over his base." And I don't think that's the case at all. I don't think Richard Spencer necessarily represents most of Trump's base, and I think that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to come out and, like, speak for them, but it really isn't that. It isn't the case. And honestly, I'm a little disappointed in CNN here. They didn't play the full interview. I mean, what, did they just have Richard on just to answer that one question or make that one comment? I mean, this is an indication that CNN is basically just engaging in clickbait at this point, because the title in the video down below is titled "White Nationalist Turns Against Trump," and you know, obviously that's going to grab a lot of people's attention, but I don't think there's really any substance here. I mean, Richard Spencer, he's kind of a nobody at this point. He's kind of a has-been. He doesn't really have much of a presence on social media compared to other people like Styx and Mark Dice and Lionel and Molyneux. I mean, it would be nice if he was there, but he's not. You know, he's not, and I think that's partially because his ideas suck. He's more socialist bent, which a lot of people in Trump's base just outright reject. They say, "Well, no. I think we kind of," and I'm speaking for a lot of people here. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but. And I can even go off of what Michael Moore said about Trump a few years back, but I think a lot of people look at Trump as the Molotov cocktail that's thrown at D.C. to burn down the swamp, so to speak. Yeah, burn down the swamp. You know what I mean. You guys get what I'm saying. But, you know, Michael Moore, you know, once said about Trump, oh, he's an anarchist at heart. He's the Molotov cocktail that's being thrown at D.C. by angry America, angry white America. I'm sure he'd slip that one in there. In a lot of ways, he's right. I mean, but I think that kind of comes with the expectation that Trump is going to be at least trying to make this country safer for those who respect the Constitution and those who are more libertarian. But because I don't think that socialism and libertarianism are they're not compatible. I wouldn't even say one or the other, but I would say that, you know, the two groups don't really get along with each other. And I actually hear a lot of people in the right that are pro-socialism that are very critical of libertarians. They say, oh, they call them lolbitarians or LOL-bertarians because, like, you know, they feel like they're kind of jokesters or whatever, like they're not taking it very seriously. They're just like, hey, let the free market decide, man. I think that's kind of something that you might hear a lot from I don't even know what you call them anymore. Do you even call them the alt-right? Do you call them the, you know, white nationalist crowd? It's kind of hard to say because there's been so much fracturing in that group, and I don't really think there's a lot of unity. I think that there's more unity in Trump's base than there is in the alt-right. And to hear people call, in closing, to hear people call. Sorry about that, but to hear people call Trump's base part of the alt-right, I don't think it's an accurate assessment. I think a lot of these people look at the alt-right and they say, I don't even know if they're necessarily offended by them, but they just say, well, we don't necessarily agree on everything, so I think it would be unfair for you to compare us to them. But anyways, it's just a really, really interesting things going on now with Epstein, and you know, now people are coming out and talking against Trump. Like Ann Coulter a few months back was coming out and saying, well, maybe Bernie will get the wall for us. It's like, oh my lord, are you kidding me, woman? Anyways, so yeah, go ahead and check that video out down below. It's in the description. It's only 2.5 minutes long, but you know, it's a real treat, especially if you just enjoy mocking CNN, because it's a total it's a total hit and miss. And then the video closes out with Jake Tapper looking just completely dumbfounded and looking like a complete weirdo. So yeah, it's like you just really have to ask yourself, who the fuck is watching CNN nowadays? Who the fuck is watching TV news in general, you know? Honestly. One more thing too, it's like a lot of people say that Fox News represents Trump's base. So Richard Spencer comes out and says, well, oh, you know, Trump's shitposting, he didn't say shitposting, but Trump's tweets are basically like, you know, a drunk uncle watching Hannity and his reactions on Twitter or something along the lines of that. It's like, look, Fox News does not represent Trump's base. A lot of Fox News, or rather a lot of Trump's base, or rather a lot of Fox News pundits don't really respect Trump's base, and vice versa. Trump's base does not really respect a lot of Fox News because they look at them as corporate media, pro-war media that's, you know, pushing the lie of Assad gassing his own people and a gas attack in the United Kingdom. I mean, there obviously is a lot of misconceptions about Trump's base, and it's like, you could even consider Trump to be a third-party candidate, you know, coming into this 2020 election. Hell, who knows? Maybe he'll run as an independent. Maybe he'll just, you know, completely fuck over the GOP, because no, Lord knows the GOP has continuously fucked him over, and we see that. We definitely see what's happening. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. God bless, and I will see you later after I get off work, maybe before. All right, goodbye. God bless.